Hi everyone, welcome to this tutorial. Teaching you how to do basically this abomination here. It's a UI type of project that emulates an app called Am I Awake? So it's an app that theoretically tells you if you're awake or not. So this exists in the scope of a performance that I'm directing, that I wrote and I'm directing, a theater performance, a theater show that uses a lot of like video interactions, and I'm TouchDesigner, so this is part of this project. In the scope of the show, this character is kind of like delusional, half awake, half sleeping, and then at some moment he's like, am I awake or not? And then he opened his phone in this app. There's also everything is part of like his fantasy, right, in his mind, and then this app tells him if he's awake or not. I'll hold this jacket here because this works way better with a black or a darker background. So here we have the eye closure index. So in each eye I have like these values telling if the eye is open or not. So if it's closed it's 0%, if it's full open it's 100%. I have a yaw detection that gets red when I yaw, and with this green exclamation mark. I have on the upper part of the visual head pose monitor that monitors if I sleep and let my head fall like this. And on the top right I also have a blink rate analysis, which is a graph that show how much blinking I'm doing. So you see, if I don't blink, if I just keep my eyes open, yeah, so you can have like a visual representation of the frequency of my blinking, of your blinking. So this is what we're doing today. So now I will delete everything and start over with you guys. Oh, before I start, it's important to say that this tutorial is part of a class. It's one of the deliveries as a final of the TouchDesigner class given by Torin Blackensmith at the new school. So to do this tutorial, I had a whole semester of class with Torin, which is an amazing teacher. He has a channel on YouTube and an Instagram with a lot of really cool tips and tutorials for TouchDesigner. So I highly recommend you, if you like TouchDesigner, to follow Torin, and he also has a Patreon. He's the one who developed this component called MediaPipe. Him together with another collaborator called Dom Scott. So they developed this. So MediaPipe is a machine learning tool from Google, and they made it possible to use this tool inside TouchDesigner. And basically is about camera and using the camera to do face recognition, to do motion tracking, to track the motion of your hands, hand tracking of your body, of your facial features. It's a lot of things. There is a tutorial, a full tutorial, very, very detailed on how to use MediaPipe. It's also linked down here, and I'll also link here all the artists that I'm following and watching tutorials. So a bunch of stuff that I'm doing this video I learned either with Torin in class or in his tutorials, or with these other artists and their tutorials on YouTube and also on Instagram. So definitely take a look at it. And specifically, there is a component that I'm using on this tutorial that we are about to start, that I took it from Bileam Tschepe. I don't know, this is not a correct pronunciation of their name. Their name on internet is Elekktronaut. So there's a grain filter that I'll use at the end that was made by him. I will link here specifically the tutorial from where I took this component that he created. Is just a grainy like filter for video, and I'll also put the link for the download of the component. So everything that I'm using in this video will be, in terms of that you need to download, will be listed here in the description of the video, and also all the references that I used to make this tutorial. But again, it's basically a MediaPipe project, a project that explores MediaPipe, and so enjoy it, and also go watch the Torin Blackensmith and Don Scott tutorial on MediaPipe. So the first thing we need to do is to download the MediaPipe component. So for that, I'll put the link here in the description of the video, but you go to the GitHub page that Torin Blackensmith created for the MediaPipe component. And then you come here, you scroll down to the bottom of it. No, it's not on the bottom. Where is it? Oh, here is it. It's just close to the beginning of the page here in this green button, and then you click on download the latest release. You go there on your computer in the folder you downloaded it, you unzip, you open, and then you copy all those folders and files, and then you go to the folder of your project. In my case, it's this folder here called tutorial, and then you paste it there. Okay, so now I'm going to my project, and then I will save my project, save as. So I'm here going to tutorial. So the folder that I just saved, the MediaPipe component, and then I'll save my project that will be called tutorial. Okay, now that we have our project saved in the same folder of the MediaPipe toxes, so here you can see our project, here are the toxes. We come here inside this folder called toxes, and we get the MediaPipe component. It will take a while for it to load, and then the first thing you need to do with MediaPipe, it's turn off everything you're not using, because everything takes a lot of processing. So for this project, we're using only the facial landmarks. So we keep facial landmarks, but we take out hands, we take out poses, we take out objects, we take out detect faces, classify images, image embeddings, and show overlays. And then we come here to facial landmarks. And so if you're using facial landmarks like us here, and you're using only one face, you also should come here to the tab of facial landmarks and put it in one. So now it will only recognize one face, and this is what we need, right? Otherwise it's just like we're using extra processing that we don't need. So all that done, we'll go here again in the toxes folder, and then we'll get the face tracking tox. Okay, and then we'll connect it to the second output. You can see the MediaPipe component has several outputs. Each one is for a different use. Today we're using the second one. As I told you before, for more MediaPipe ideas and to learn how to use it better, there are like this amazing tutorial that is listed also in the comments. Okay, so we have our MediaPipe there. So first of all, we need to change the resolution of our project, because this project is on the resolution 1280 by 720, which is the default, but we don't want that. This project I'm doing for a live performance that I'm preparing, and this live performance will project. So all this will be like video mapped to a surface, to an acrylic sheet that has the following dimensions. So it's 700 for 1200. So this is, so it's like a vertical shape. So this is what I want for this project. You can, if you're doing this tutorial, you can keep this, you can change to whatever resolution you need for whatever your purposes, right? So for my purposes, I need this resolution, so I change the resolution of the entire project here, and then I go back inside to the project again. So once we're inside the project, we can start building it. So the first thing we'll use is the camera. So here on the media pipe, you can see my face, right? And then we want to use this visual information. So then you get to the last output here. It's a top output, and then you just get a null on that output. And then you have the video from media pipe. For now, I also will, oh, this is important. You see, so the media pipe component has this resolution here, but the face tracking component is getting the parent panel resolution. So it's doing like 700 by 1200, and this is not ideal now because, as you can see here, let's just do an over to merge those things together, and here we'll get a null, so we can have like those points just as a reference, and then let's go over just to this, and then you can see the resolution is not matching, right? So we don't want that. So what we're going to do here is keep the face tracking component with the same resolution of the media pipe. So 1280 by 720. So let's just change it here, 1280 to 720. And now you can see here that is matching, right? And then we'll use a fit top to put this in the correct resolution. So we're coming here. Now we want the parent panel size, and then we come here to fit and change it to fit vertical. So then we have how we want our final project to look. For now, I'll just add a null here and an out, and this out will be our background, so we can keep going. We're not using these dots in our final visual, but it's useful on the go to have them as reference to make sure the face tracking component is like matching the camera, and we will need it because we are using the face tracking component to map some visuals to the video, so it's nice to have it and to make sure that they're matching the video with the dots of the face tracking. Okay, so let's start. So this project is as I mentioned before, is an interface with a different visual information around some facial features related to be awake or not. And then the first thing, and I think the visual that is the core of this project, is like a percentage of how each eye is open or closed. So 0% is completely closed and 100% is completely open, right? So for that, let me just put it here. We need that information, and that information is coming out from the face tracking component. So the face tracking component has several of outs. As you see, the first out is the points, right? And the information we need now is not on the second one, is on the third one. It's called blend shapes. So we just add a null here to get that information. As you can see, it's a lot of information, right? We can have we have information about our jaw open, eye squint, and a lot of other information that is given to us, very useful to other projects. But for this project, in this moment, we want eye blink left and eye blink right, those two numbers here. So with eye blink left, if I blink, it goes to 1. If it's wide open, it goes close to 0, right? But it's not useful to have all this information, so we need to use a select chop and then get only what we need. So we can come here and then we can eye blink left and also eye blink right. And then in this select chop, we have the two information we want separate. I also get jaw open here because we use it later. We won't use it now, but it's nice to have it. So jaw open here. So jaw open, when I have my mouth shut, it's close to 0. When I open it wide, it's go closer to 1. So now we have the numbers we want, right? The values we want, but we need to do the chop dance to make those values look like we want them to look. So first of all, we are going here from 1 when it's closed to 0 when it's open. And in our visual UI, we want to, when they are wide open, to the number be 100%, right? Because it's like 100% open and 0% open. So the first thing we'll do is create a math component. And then, okay, so let's take this jaw out and we can create another select for it. Just let's focus on the eyes now. So this math component will alter the range. So the range is going from 0 to 1, right? So we're going to go for 100. So when it's 0, which means when it's wide open, will be 100. And when it's 1, which is closed, will be 0. So now the numbers start to look more like what we like, right? Or like when they're closed, they're closer to 0. When they're open, they're closer to 100. But as you can see, it's not quite working well, because even like I have my eyes closed and I can look and see they're like going down to 30%. Maybe when I close both, they go a little bit lower, but it's not 0%. And when I wide open them, like they're really open now, they're still not reaching 100%, right? So we want to change that. What I mean by change, we need to make this more sensitive, right? So we need to, at this point, or more sensitive, this needs to go to a higher value and this needs to go to a smaller value that we're showing there. So what we're going to do now is just stretch this range. So here we're going to 104, I guess this should be it. Yeah, so 104, you see when I'm wide open, it's go beyond 100. It's going like 103 or 100. Yeah, that's enough. And here, I think we need to go really down, like minus 60. So I'm getting like from minus 7 to minus 15. And yeah, around minus 7 here, which is okay for now. But what is important, we're going from below 0 to up to 100, right? So now we're closer to what we want, because we want to go from 0 to 100. And then to refine even more those numbers, we're creating not a null, but a limit chop. And then we'll set this to a clamp. And then we put a minimum of 0 and the maximum of 100, right? So then we have, when my eyes are wide open, 100, and when I close, we have it 0, exactly what we want. But we still have decimals. We don't want the decimals, right? So we will create another math, or no, another. It's the first math we're using, right? No, it's the second? Yeah, it's the second. So we'll create another math, and then we'll come here in integer and choose it to round. So now we have only the full numbers. We don't have decimals anymore. So the numbers are good. Now I'll just rename it. So just put a rename. So from I blink left, I'll call it text. Oh, there's an interesting thing here. So let's see. So the left is actually the right, and the right is actually the left. You see, like I'll close my right eye, and then what goes down here is the eye blink left. This is because the video is flipped. Media pipe flips the video. So when I put my right hand up, it's like mirrored with the screen of the computer. So I'm like seeing the hand on the same side. It's better to work like that. That's why they do this. So let's keep it. But then we need to be clever here, because the eye blink left needs to call text right eye. So I'm calling it text right eye, right? And then I blink right, we call it text left eye. So now the right eye is 0, right eye is 100%, left eye is 0, left eye is 100. There's something about the left that is a little bit, well, let's keep with these numbers, and at the end, if we see we need some refinement of those numbers, we can go back to it, and then just have a no and just make this active. Okay, so we collected the data from the media pipe component. We treated the data, so now it's not raw data anymore, and we have the data ready to be used. And how we're going to do that? We're going to do that with geometry, right? So to use geometry, we need to first have a 3D object, and then we will add a SOP here, text SOP. We actually need two, because one for each eye, right? So here we go. This text SOP needs to have these values here, right? I rename it to final text instead of null. So then if you go to the text component, you can see here the parameters. There's one parameter that is text, right? It's written derivative. It's the default. and we want this value there. So we can just drag it like this and put as a chop reference. But then you can see this is not exactly what we I want here a percentage, so I want a symbol of percentage after the number. And also, when you do that, when you just use this number, even that we clear the number from the decimals appear here again, right? So instead of like doing this, we just delete this. We'll go to the Python expression, but we will need a small expression to put it there. I'm pasting it here. Okay, so then you can type, I just paste it here, but you can type F quotes, open curly bracket, INT, open parenthesis, OP, open parenthesis, single quote, final line text, single quote, close parenthesis, open bracket, single quote, txt re. Final text is the name of the operator, and txt re is the name of the channel, right? So just remembering us. So I renamed the operator to final text. So that's why we have final text here. And then txt re is the name of the channel. So you can change if you have a different operator name or a different channel name. Quotes, close bracket, dot eval, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, close parenthesis, close curly brackets, percentage symbol, close double quotes, right? So this is what will give you exactly what we want, which is the number from the channel here, followed by the percentage symbol. So just copy this here. So this is the right. So let's make here the left. So just change this R to L. Don't forget to put it as a Python expression instead of text. And so let's rename it. This one, the second one, is the text left eye, and this is the text right eye. Correct? Yeah, this is right. This is left. Correct. Okay, so now that we have our 3D objects with the correct text on it, I'll just change the font. So here I'm looking more for like this vintage computer 32 or 16-bit Windows 95 kind of vibe. So I'm using this font called Pixeled. Font size 1. Okay, this is what we need. So I don't want to keep using SOPs because they run into our CPU, so they consume more processing capacity of our computer. So I'm changing them to SOPs that actually are the type of 3D object that runs directly into the GPU. So it's really way more light to run. Then from the SOP, I'll just create geometry. So you go comp, and then you get a geometry. So this is how you transform your 3D object into a composition that will go to your image, right? So now we need to map this geometry to the face, right? Because I want this as like glued to my face. So it's like a visual that it's always telling this information close to each eye. So to achieve that, I need to use this is not supposed to be here because now I need to tell you how to do it. So now we're using something called transformation matrices, which is the second output from the face tracking talks. So I'll just have a null here, and then I'll change the name for what's the name again? Transformation. So, Okay, so this is actually the information of the placement of my face, the facial recognition on the 3D space, right? So we have like rotation, translation, and everything, but it's in matrix language, so we cannot really understand what those numbers are when you look at it. I can see they're changing when I'm like moving, but I cannot really understand them. So to understand them, we just add a transform chop, and then here you got more like human-friendly numbers, not in the matricial format. So we have like our tx, ty, and tz, rx, ry, rz, sx, sy, sz. So t is the translation, r is the rotation, and s is the scale, right? So we can use those numbers to map anything we want. But there's a better way to do that. Instead of like using each channel as a chop reference for each parameter, there's a more effective and secure way to do that, which is we go to our geometry here, and then we go to pre-transformation, we put apply pre-transformation, and then use the matrix chop as a reference here. So we use the whole matrix here, and we do the same in the second one, pre-transformation, apply pre-transform, and then we put the whole matrix here. So now the geometry is attached already to my face, to the facial tracking of the MediaPy component. So now we need to put this into our visuals, right? So to do that, we need to create a camera. First, a camera. So come here and create a camera. And here is the tricky part. I took so much time now to realize how I did it, because I did this project before and now I'm creating the tutorial, and I got stuck like more than 2 hours doing this because this is really tricky. There is probably a better way to do that, but I'll do the way that I could figure out here. So the problem is when I put the camera, it's really far away from the object, and it's tricky because it's hard to navigate the 3D space and to keep like the matrices, the transformation matrices that we just put in the geometry, to keep them like active and like effective as a mapping tool. So I'll just gently scroll here to have this fellow, those fellows, right? Because there are two of them, in a more position, head in the middle of the screen, and then I'll just like adjust, not this one. I'll adjust the translation here to the middle of the screen. It's probably in a good place now. I won't change it much. Now we will add a light, and then we are ready to blend this to our image. So how I'm going to do that? I'm going to create a render top here. So the render top will get the information from whatever camera you tell him, whatever geometry you tell them, and whatever lights you tell them. So here I'm getting camera 1 and all geometries and all lights. We'll go into the nitty-gritty of it later when we'll have more geometries and like different renders for each geometry, right? So let's get rid of this over here because we need a composite. Because the problem with the over operator is just it can have only 2 inputs, and the composite can have like multiple. So our visual is all fucked up because this is just like the wrong math. It's not a multiply that we need an over. Okay, so now we're back. So here so no one is the camera. We'll just change the name for camera so it's easier. And then we choose the points, right? So let's change the name for points so it's easier for us to. And render one is render one. So let's put the render one in front of everything and okay. So this render one is actually both of the texts like overlap, right? So let's correct that. We can see it somehow maps, but let's refine it. And again, I think there's a better way to do that. When I did it the first time, it was a more easy way, but now I'm doing like in this way, right? So first of all, let's stop cooking the left eye. Let's just have the right eye going so we can focus on that. I'll take the parameter out of there because it's not in a good place, and then I'll just open it in a separate window. So like when you press P on your keyboard, you can make disappear or appear the parameter window, right? Sometimes it's inconvenient there. So you just disappear it and then you right click on the component, the operator you want to use, and then you put parameters, and then there's the same window, but now you can move it. Right. So okay, so let's change a little bit this geometry. So let's scale it down. So I think that 0.4 maybe would be good for this. Yeah, it's good enough, right? And now we just like translate a little bit up and translate a little bit to the place we want. So it changes a lot according to the distance you are from the screen. I think I want to set everything to this distance. So let's go back to the camera and do this. So let's adjust this X here. Oops, too much. So I think oops, too much. I think here we'll have better a better placement of our geometry. You see, like if I'm staying at this distance for the camera is working. If I'm moving, it's working. It's good enough. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is good enough for us. Let me see if so this is putting it more closer, more far from my face. Yeah. And this is the hard part of like working. Oh, so but this is a better place, right? We have less move the distance from our face. Yeah, so this is the hard part of like working with the 3D space because it's not very intuitive, not as intuitive as we would like it to be. Okay, so I think I'm satisfied with that. So let's go back to the geometry parameters and tiny. I want it a little bit bigger, so maybe 0.6. 0.6. it's good enough. It's good enough for now. Oops. The geometry is like 0.2, 0.3, and 0.6, right? So let's do the same thing with the other one, but on the other side, right? First of all, let me remember. So the scale is 0.6. So the scale needs to be the same. So let's go 0.6, 0.6. Now they're like the same size, and then so 2.2 and 0.3. So let's see how these work on the other side, right? So that's right. Minus 2.2. Yeah. Minus 0.3. It's not exact. No, this is 0.3 because they need to be actually like the same height. Yeah. So the height is this, and then this needs to go further to the left or the right, depending what's your reference. So let's put here, and then let's adjust it. Okay. So the other one is a little bit. I'm trying to equilibrate. I'll actually take out these dots. I don't think they're helping anymore. Okay. So yeah, I think this side needs to go a little bit to the center. I think this is too fine. Yeah, now it's good enough, right? So now we have 100% we open, 0, 1 we close, 100, 0, yeah, and they're like almost in the opposite side. So I'm satisfied with that. This is a fine adjustment you need to do, and again, it's really different from when your distance from the camera changes, so you need to adjust for each case. I'm setting for like this distance as a reference. Okay, so now we've done the hardest part, and now I want to add like the label of this data. I want to call it eye closure index. So now I actually create another text, and then again duplicated it, duplicated, and here I want it to be called eye closure index. Index on left, and the other one I want to call it eye closure index right. So let's put the right on top so we can keep it standard, because here the right is on top. So this eye closure index is just like to give this idea of logical, but also a little bit bureaucratic and a little bit old. So in the vibes of this pixelated thing, so like this eye closure index type of thing. So now I'll do the same here. I will add a soft pop, and then I will add geometry to each one of them. Okay. Oops. Let me open more space here. Okay. So let me add the geometry here. Why? What's going on? Here we got the geometry. Cool. Now we have the two geometries. As you can see, they are already appearing in the camera, like very close to the camera. But this will change because we need also to map them, right? So we go them as we learned before to pre-exform, apply pre-transformation, then we need to drop our matrix there in Geo4 and our matrix there in Geo3. Okay, so now they are both overlapped in this, and then we need to refine the position, right? So first of all, let's change this this font as well to our font that we're using, which is the pixeled, and then the pixel. Okay, let's do the same thing. Let's stop clicking this so we can work with the right one. So let's scale this. So I think this is way too big. Let me see the size of this. No, size one. Okay. So this is way too big. We open the parameter in my space. So let's scale down to 0.2 maybe. No, 2 is not. 0.4. Okay, 0.4. It looks good. So I want this over. But you see, I don't want this in one line. So let's make this in 2 lines. And then you also need a Python expression. Because as you can see here, we have only, there's an extra space. No, that's good. We have only one line here. So we cannot put enter here. So you need to create a small expression. Small Python. So we put for function and then put quotes and close quotes. And then here, so I want to do eye closure in one line, and so just take this space off and put the inverted slash and then I need to do it again here. Yeah, and then we have you see it goes to another line. So this is the expression we need to do that. And then I don't want this align on reasons on the line in rigid direction. I don't want that. I want center. So let's go back to the position of it, right? So we go back to geometry and we open the parameter in a better location, and then we will translate this. Like this. Translate here. I think it's a little bit too big, so I put like 0.35. I think is a better size. No, this needs to go a little bit up. Yeah. But I think also this distance is like too big, the distance between the two lines. So come here and then line spacing. You see, so we need to put like minus 0.5 maybe, minus 1, minus 0.1, minus 0.8. This is good enough. This is good enough. Sixth position. I think it can go a little bit down. Yeah, it can go a little bit down. And a little bit my left. Yeah, now it's good enough. So we'll do the same thing on the other side, right? So this it's 2.36. This will be the same. This parent will be the same. So just copy it, and then just make this. Okay, so let's first of all copy this expression here, so you don't need to do it again. I'll just change to now, and then we have the horizontal line to center, and how was the line spacing is like minus 0.8. Hey, great. So the scale is 0.35. 35, and then the y. Oh, I copy another thing, so let's get it here. It's 2.36. Some other y, and I just need to adjust the x. Good enough. So now we have our eye closure index mapped to our eyes, right? Okay, so apart from our eye closure index, I want to create another visual that is interactive, is getting information from our face tracking, which is what I call yaw detector. So it's to see if you're yawning, since this is like UI that helps you realize if you're awake or not. How much your eyes are open are important, but also if you're yawning or not, it's also a silly an important thing for this UI. I see here we need some adjustments in this, but we can do it on the end. Yeah. We definitely need some adjustments here. Again, maybe in the camera, maybe I can do it now. Maybe I can do it in the camera. So let's open the parameters, and then we just translate. Not this. I'm always confused between the X and the Y. Oops, too much. It's not this. Actually, let's go. Yeah, so again, it's really tricky. It's really tricky. Okay. Now it's better for this. Distance. Okay, so let's do the yawning. The yawn detector. So first of all, I'll create a box. So I want this to be, I'm just changing, this is a better ratio of how much I'm appearing in the camera. So let's adjust this one more time. Yeah. Okay, now it's better. Okay, so let's create this box. It's just like a simple rectangle top. Okay, so let's put this rectangle. So let's put this rectangle now, right? Because there's like different resolution here, because here we're working with the camera and with like the information from the media pipe. So until here, everything is in different resolution, and then I'm using this fit to change the resolution. Now I'm only using tops. I'm not using visuals from the camera. So I'll add a composite here to add all the other layers we'll put on the image. So let's set it to over, and now let's create a rectangle here, and then I'll just size, and then I will composite this to the image. Okay, now we got the rectangle. So let's change this rectangle. So let's create a transform top so you can like change this rectangle. So I want this rectangle to be a little bit bigger. So if I'm positioning myself like at this distance, so a little bit here, and it's a little bit too much, so just scale it to 0.8, maybe even smaller, right? 0.6. This is a good size. This is different. I like this size. So we're actually not using the full rectangle. We just want the outline of it. So we come here to make the rectangle, and then we take the fill out, and then put a border. The color would be this red. No, actually, and then let's change the border color to a white. This is still wide, so let's change that 0.7. Cool. Now let's put in the yaw detector text. So just add the text chop, and then the text. So let's composite here as well. Let's change it to size. Always, you need always to remember to change the resolution of a new operator when this operator is generating some visuals. Okay, so here we got in the right definition. So let's go and change this to yaw. I also want this to be into lines, so do the same thing. This Python expression. And now we'll change the font to our pixel font, and then we will make this a little bit smaller and change a little bit the line space. Okay, maybe a little bit more, maybe 3, maybe 0.5. Okay, this is good enough. Let's add a transform here, so we can also translate it. So let's here, and this is a little bit big, so we can change the font size, but we can just scale it down here. I like it more. Let's go down a little bit. Yeah, so this is our yawn detector. So the yawn detector will be not mapped, right? It's static there. But what will change is what is inside of it. So now let's create a constant. So let's fill it with some color. So let's make this constant this green here. Yeah, this green here, and then let's organize this better. Let's put everything of your yawn detector in the bottom here. So now, so what we need is a second rectangle exactly like this. Why we're not seeing the rectangle? Okay, so this is like the border of our rectangle, right? The outline of it. So we want to have exactly the same rectangle, but with the alpha 100%, so you can actually see the rectangle. And then we'll also compose it there and make it so now we can see. And then we'll compose it with this green. Actually, we compose it with a null. You will understand why. So let's, because it's not only green, we're doing something with this color, but now we're just using green. Okay, so this is the yawn detector, but we needed to change, so it will be green when you're not yawning, but we needed to change it to red when you are yawning, right? So what we are going to do is we create another constant and then paint it red, and then we'll add the switch here, and then we can go from 0 to 1. If you put this on, blend between inputs, it will transition. You see? If you don't, it's like green, 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 and then after 1, after 99, becomes red. But if you put the transition, it will slowly go, and we want this version, right? So now we need to use a chalk to take care of this index, right? And the chalk we will use will be our jaw open. So remember, here we have all this information from the face tracking, and we selected before the eye blink eye and left and eye blink right. So now we put another select here. Select here, and we connect this to the select, and now we select only the jaw open. So let's make some space. So this is the thread of the eye, right? The thread of the mouth. We got a jaw open that goes from 0 to almost 1. So here we got the number of the jaw open, right? And this number is theoretically already good for us because it's going from 0 to 1, which is exactly what we need here in the switch, right? From 0 green to 1 red. But I don't like the way this number is behaving, because when I close my mouth, it's not quite 0, so it'll be never red. And when I open it, goes like 2.8 or something like that. So we'll never reach the red. So I'm sure there are more elegant ways to do it. I'll do it the way I figure out how to do it. So first of all, we'll put a math here, and then we'll stretch this number. So here we're going from 0 to 1, right? So we just change here from 0 to 1, and then we'll go like from -1 to 8. So when I'm opening, I'm maybe don't need 8, maybe to 7, because I want to use 5 as a reference. So let's use 8. So when I'm opening it, all the way is going a little bit more than 5, like 5.4 or 5.2. And when I'm closing it, it's going almost -1, right? So this is good enough for me. So now I will put a limit here, a limit chop, I'll clamp, and then I'll put a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 5. So now when I have my mouth open, I have a 5. When it's closed, I have a 0. And it's not really sensitive in the beginning because of the clamp, but when it's like a little bit halfway, it starts to mark, which is good for me because it's a yaw detector. So like when the person opens the mouth slightly to talk, barely moves, right? But when it becomes like more, so yeah. So the chop path and the chop like spiral is always like treating the numbers the way you want them to be treated, like so they behave the way you want them to behave. This worked for me. So now I have like a nice sensitive device from 0 to 5, but I want this go to actually 0 to 1 instead of 0 to 5. So I'll put another math and then change the range from 0 to 5 to 0 to 1. And here we got our jaw, our yaw detector, right? So I'll make this this operator active, and then I'll go there to the switch, and then I'll drag this number in the index as a chop reference. And then now it goes from green to red, right? But this is like too simple. Let's make it a little bit more fun. So I will add also another element that it will be an exclamation mark. So an operator, top text, and then the text will be just like exclamation point. And then I'll just change the font to our font. And then I'll make this black. Black. No, actually, I'll make this green. I'll make this green. So it will, just making sure it's the same green, which is the second one. Okay, so I'll make this green, and then I want this to be placed. So for now, let's just put the red here. So let's compose. So let's add a transform to this thing. And now let's composite to our main composition. And let's just Okay. Again, change the resolution, right? Current panel size. Cool. So let's change the size here, the font size, and then we can like change, adjust better in the transform. So let's go to the transform top, and then let's translate this so it fits inside our theme. So in the composite. So let's keep translating it so it's centered. Yeah, and then just scale this a little bit up. Yeah, and I was translated a little bit down. It's good enough. It's good enough. Okay, but you know what? I don't like the shape of this exclamation mark. So although it's the font we're using, this is not, it's just like a sign, so just change it to a different one. Maybe just an Arial. Don't like the Arial as well. Arial black. Yeah, maybe Arial black. Yeah, so let's, I want to make it a little bit distorted. No, looks better to me. Maybe it's too much. Maybe 1.5. It's distorted enough. Okay. So let's translate it again. So we can put it in the center. Let's scale it down a little bit more. So yeah. And finally, it's a little bit more centered. Right. Let me see here. I think. Yeah, good enough. It's in the center enough. So this is how your ion detector will be when it's red, right? So let's connect this to the switch again. But like here, the way it is, the exclamation mark is always there. I want to make it like grow or appear together, like with gradation. So just come here to the text and then to the color and then to the off, and then I'll map the same draw ion detector here. So it's going from 0 to 1. Off is also from 0 to 1. I'll put the chop reference. So now, alongside with the change from the green to the red, the exclamation mark also appears. But it's still a little bit lame how the look of this. So I'll add some noise and some other effects to make it look better. Okay, so in order to do that, I will add a noise, a top noise, a noise stop, noise, and then add a blur to this noise. And then I will add a multiply here. So I'll just multiply this. Then I need this make animated, so I'll be an ABS time dot seconds here, this little expression. So now the noise is moving. Maybe I want this to move a little bit slower, so times dot 8, maybe that's 6.6. Yeah. So now let's make this this blur here a little bit, yeah, more blurry. And let's change this noise parameter as well. Let's make this period a little bit smaller. We don't need to change harmonics. We don't need to change harmonic spread. I'm just going with the flow, seeing how it lands. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is good enough. Maybe this blur is too blurry. Yeah. Now I want a little bit more fun. Yes. So I want to make it a little bit more interesting here, and then I will add a level here to have a little to this. With this brightness, I'll be able to use a bloom, which I always like, because give like this I don't know, this like weird vibe, futuristic. I'm just playing with the parameters here. Yeah. Yeah. Now it looks more organic and more interesting for sure. Yes. So this is our yaw detector. Um, so we already have the eyes, the yaw detector. So there are two more visuals that I want to add. I think this whole thing, this whole yaw detector, is a little bit big. Yeah, so this whole yaw detector thing is a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do is just like organize this things here. So we can actually create another composite. Whoa. So this is all the all the components, all the operators that are creating our yaw detector. So instead of like putting all of them to the main composite, I'll create another composite here. And then something weird happened in the other composite. We're going there soon. Okay, and then this, and then this composite here needs to be an over, right? So here, as you can see, we have our ion detector thing, and then this will composite to the main composite. Okay, so we have this ion detector, and then I'll put a node here, and then I'll put it. So now we can scale the whole thing down a little bit. Yeah, and then translate it down as well. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we have our yawn detector, we have our eye closure index, and now I want to create a blink rate monitor. So a monitor that will like see will like a graph kind of situation that will show the rate of our blinking. So in terms of data is also what is this null here? Okay, so in terms of data is the same as the blink, like as the eye closure index, like this blink eye left and blink eye right. But here, let's get the raw data here. And let me get a trail. Trail chop. So here we got kind of cool graph of every time we blink, we have a peak on this graph, right? So this is good enough in terms of visuals to me. I will just add the math so I can combine those two graphs in one. So just put combined channels in as a multiply. So have an even more nice graph because it's like bigger. So I want this graph as a visual, right? So what I'm going to do is, so let's create some space here because now we're creating a whole new thing. So let's do this up here, actually. So I'll add this top viewer. You just drag whatever you want here, and then it transforms like in pixels, whatever is appearing in the viewer of this operator, right? I'll put the preserve alpha so we don't see this black background, and we just need to do some treatment in this before we throw it in our image. So the first thing I want to do is change this color. I don't want this red. I want like a green similar to this one. So I'll just get a HSV adjust top, and then I'll change the hue here. So I think it'll be somewhere close here. This is good enough. So I'll add the blend here also, because I think blend always gives this vibe of this vintage kind of UI we want to build. I'll actually put this alpha back, and I'll blend it off. I'll take the, so let's go there. It's 2.39. like this. Yes. Yes. So there's a lot of play features in this. I think it can be better, but I think this is good enough for now. Again, you always play with the values. Okay, so now we have our bloom here. So our visual is the way we want it to appear. So let's just create a feed top so we can adjust it to the resolution of our current frame size. Feed vest is good. And now let's add a composite. So it doesn't need to be a composite, it can be an over top here. So we can add the text. The text that will be the name of our visual. Boom. And the name will be link with analysis. Again, let's do that little Python expression so we can change lines, right? Like converted slash n. This needs to be Python. Oh, this is enough. Cool. Yeah, so let's change our fonts to pixels. Let's change. This over needs to be and this needs to be parent side as well. Yeah, so let's also change the spacing. Yeah, so this 25 will be better. Yeah, cool. So now let's composite this to the main composite. Right, and then we can adjust it better. So let's create a transform here and a transform here. So you can adjust the size and the placement of this both of those elements. So let's start with the graphic visualization itself. So let's first of all scale this down and then let's translate it up. Yeah, here's okay. So actually let's put it a little bit down because so this is the distance we want, right? Okay, so let's scale it a little bit down. Yeah, 3.3 is fine. Let's translate it a little bit down so we have space to put our name over it. So let's translate it up. Not that much. It's okay for now. Let's scale it down. Let's translate it to the side. Good enough. Let's go more fine. I think this can be a little bit scaled down, maybe 0.5. Okay, and then we'll just a little bit up. So now let's add another transform here. So we can move the whole thing together. Maybe we can scale it down a little bit. Translating to the correct place. Here we go. I think this looks cool for me for now. We'll add like a border later, so maybe we can change that, but for now it looks good. Now let's do our last element of this visual, which is head pose monitor. So we have here the eye closure, right? You can see if our eyes are closed or open. We can also visualize the graph of the rate we are blinking. We can detect yawns. So let's now create a monitor that can monitor if we are falling asleep and our head is like doing this kind of movement. This great. So for this element, we will use another out from the face tracking component that is the face mask. So we just create a null of a sop, right? Like a null sop. So from this we'll start. So I'll just create this down here. Down here. So it's separate. So each of our things are in a different space in the project, right? So this is like this monitor for the head pose. I want to create like a small model of my head and place it here on this part of the image. So this out from the face tracking component of MediaPipe gives you exactly what we need, a model of a face, right? It's not the entire head, but it's good enough for now. So I'll want to place this little face over here into this kind of visual, and then I'll call this head pose monitor. So let's do it. So the first thing we need to do is put a geometry, right? And now we can see this mask giant because it's already like being rendered and seen by the camera, right? But we don't want that actually. So I'll create a different render. So I'll come to this render here, and then I'll just say, oh, sorry. I want this render to not to get all the geometries, but I want it to get G1, which is the two first text, Geo 3 and Geo 4, that are the other texts, and that's it. So this is the geometries I want that render to, where is the render? Oh, here. So this rendered to get only for the eyes. Because face, this beautiful face we have here, I want to be cut by another render. So I'll add another render here. Another render top, and then it will be easier this way. So here I just want Geo 5 for now. So this render is just rendering this face, right? So before adding this to the final composite, I'll just do some stuff on this face. So I don't need a camera and I don't need a light because I'm already using the ones we have, and they're good and they are good enough. This face, I want to add a material to this geometry. So because I don't want this geometry to look like this, like white, I want to change this material. I want to have like a wireframe visual, but I won't use the wireframe because I have less control on it. I'll use actually the line material, and then I'll drag this material to geometry and I'll set it as material, and then here with the material applied to the geometry. And now we will look here in the render and then just some of the parameters here. I'm just now playing with the parameters. I'm not very used to this. So here I'm making the lines thicker or less thicker. So I'm checking here with which one of those parameters change in the image, right? Let's see what it changes. Now like this. Now this is better. Okay. Okay, now I'll change this to this red. This is the red I want. Delete the alpha. Okay. I want to add points? Maybe. I want to add points. This is fun. Just to create this weird visual we want. No, this is better. Okay, I like how this looks. No, this is too much. Okay, so this is good enough for the visuals of this. So what I'm going to do is change this render to because this is going out of this thing, right? So actually I need to place this geometry a little bit more far. So just change the yeah. Let's see. So let's see. Okay, I think this looks better. Okay, now we want to add this to our composition, right? So I'll actually create a null top here, and then actually before the null, I'll add a fit, and then I'll go to parent panel size and fit best. Yeah. So now we have our little model placed in space. I want like a frame, like a cube also. So let's just create a box pop, and then let's make this 3D object a geometry. So now let's do two things. One, let's create a material. So matte, a line, also a line. So let's use this as a material, and then let's go to this line, and then line, and then we change the color for this green we like, and the line far color to a darker green. Yeah. So now we have the material we want for the box. Now we will make this box also interact with face tracking, right? So we will again go to the pre-transform, apply pre-transform, and then drag our transformation matrices here. Good job. Okay. So now, as you can see, the box, as you can see here, is a tiny box for now. It's already linked with the movement of my head, right? So now it's the same thing around making this box to place it in a nice place, right? It's probably there's a better way to do that. I'll do just looking at the camera and looking at the geometry and just trying to make it work. Okay, so it took me a while to put the box and the head up there, and then I lost track of the recording. It's not a very easy process, so I don't know if I can like really teach you in this tutorial. But basically, I was just like playing around with the geometry parameters of translate of both geometries of like the Geo6, which is the cube, the box, and also of Geo5, which is the head. And then after playing around with it, I also came here in the render, made sure the render was like in the resolution we were working with the 700 and 1200 feet best, and then I did the transform to move it. Yeah, I don't need that feet anymore. I need the transform to move it up there. And again, it changes a lot with the camera settings. But anyway, we are almost there. So those are all the components I would like to put. This yaw detector to me is a little bit up, so I want to move it down. So just changing this transform here. Yeah. Okay, there's one last thing missing for this this visual here. It's not aligned yet, but yeah, it's kind of, which is the name of it, right? So let's translate this a little bit. Okay. Okay. We're missing the name of it, which is head pose monitor. So let's create another soft text with this name. And again, here we will need like this little expression because we want it into lines. For now, you probably already know. By now, you probably already know which expression is f quotes whatever you're writing, and then when you want to change line, you put inverted slash n, and then you keep going, and then you close with the quotes as well again. Yep. So here we got it, and then we'll change it to align center, and now we'll change the font to the pixeled, and we are almost there. Okay, so now we'll create also a geometry. Where are you? Geometry is here. And now we'll create the material. Well, can be just a constant. I just want to make it red. Material. Okay. So now let's add this to this render actually. So come here and then let's add Geo7. So Geo7 is there, and then also let's use our matrix. So let's come here on the Geo7, pre-X form, apply for transform, and then let's apply our transformation matrices. And you see we're almost there. Now we just need to do some manual adjusts. Let's translate this down a little, maybe a little bit more. Head pose monitor. So I think I need to change it a little bit. Back. Here's where we position ourselves, right? Yes. So it's there. And there's monitor. Let's scale this a little bit up. Oops. And let's translate it over. So now we have our head pose monitor text over there. I'll just change also the line spacing. I want it like -5, no, -2, -0.4, -0.7, -0.8, -1, yes, -1. Okay, so we have our head pose monitor over there with the text. We have our blink rate analysis with the text, and the up view. We have the eye closure index in both of eyes, and we have your yaw detector. So it's basically done. Now we just want to add some framing for it all, maybe. So let's come closer to our final composition here, and then let's create a rectangle top. Let's change it to parent panel size. Let's composite it here. And then let's move it up. Let's work on this rectangle. So I'm going to set the transform here. So let's take this alpha off. Let's put the border width on. Let's change the border color to the red we want. And then let's transform it. So actually I want to do the opposite. This is fine. So now we'll just go to the transform, and then we're going to scale the whole thing. And now we're going to scale only this, only the height. Oops. Here we go. And then we have like somehow even border. Let's make it a little bit smaller. That's it. So let's copy this and paste it, and add it here as well to the composite, and insert another transform here. So this second one, I just want it to be way smaller. We're not seeing it, right? So we need to put it. Yeah, now we're seeing it. Okay. So here I want to be like this size. It's okay. Yeah, just this needs just to be a little bit, so it's like the same width of the other one, and then now we can just translate this down. Yeah. Okay, here is where I'll position myself for like the final thing. So we need to maybe make this yaw detector smaller and up, go smaller and up. So let's scale it down and let's translate it up. Yeah, that's a good spot for it. Okay, and now we're almost there. Now we'll add, where's our, so here's our final composite. I'll add another text just for the name of this. So in this project, this is a UI, kind of an app that helps you to see if you're awake or not. So this is part of a performance that I'm directing, a theater show, and in some moment the character opens this app because he thinks he's asleep. So this kind of hallucination in his head, and then this is projected in the screen. So the name of the app is and then I'll put .exe just to be fun, just to give this Windows 95 vibes. So let's change the font for pixels, and I want this color to be green, and I want this to be parent panel size, and I want to composite this to everything else, and make it appear. So okay, so now I'll also insert another transform here, so we can translate this image here. There we go. So let's come back here to the text font. It's regular, right? Okay. So I want also to put a name here. But I want also to put a bloom in this. Yeah, I want to put an animated bloom. So I want this to be kind of to be like, like pulsating. Yeah. So I'm playing around here with these parameters. Yeah, I think this is good for me. Yeah, so I want this to be animated from 0 no. Yeah, so I want this go from 0.84 to 3. Okay, so I'll create. So I want to this make this parameter oscillate. So in order to do that, I'll just create an LFO chop here. Make this frequency. Yeah. And then I'll put a map here. And then so is this so this from 1 or like 80.8 to 3.8. Okay, so I'll do math. So this is going from -1 to 1, right? I'll change this range from -1 to 1, from 0.8 to 3.8. And then I'll write allow and a filter. So this is going to 3.8 to 8. And now this is the value I want. And then I made this active. Now I'm going to the bloom. And I'll put this as the bloom intensity as a chop reference. So now we have this. This is growing, and we're almost done. The last thing I want to do to keep adding to this vibe of this old vintage tech, I'll add some noise, some like grain to the video. So what I'm going to do is add this component. This is a component that I downloaded in another tutorial that I'll link here. It's linked down there, who made it and the name of the person who made it, and also the name of the component. The component is called Grainfx. So then I will disconnect this, and then I'll put this here, I'll put this here, and then of course I was supposed to have more control of it, but I think because this is like made to an older version of TouchDesigner, I don't have much control. But it's good enough for today. So here we are. We have our vintage UI of an app that tells you if you are awake or not. It's called Am I Awake.exe. We have our blink rate analysis there. We have our head pose monitor. We have the eye closure index and the yaw detector. Of course, let me get this jacket here. This will work way better with dark background, as you can see. So my wall here is white, and everything gets weirder to see. So you definitely need a darker black background for this to work properly. That's it. I hope you like it. This tutorial is part of a course I'm taking at a new school with Torin Blackensmith. Maybe I'll post more tutorials in the future. So if you're interested in performance art and TouchDesigner, subscribe to my channel. I post here some of my works as a theater director, some of video art that I do, and also now maybe I'll start to posting more also tutorials on TouchDesigner. Thank you. See you.